Hey everyone, welcome back for another video. An important video here today talking about proper hip turn in the backswing. So we need proper hip turn in the backswing because it sets us up for proper hip turn or turn in general in the downswing. Golf being rotational, you need to turn properly to create predictability, to create power in the golf swing. So how do we make sure we turn properly in the backswing? Well, a lot of the times people, especially players who don't turn properly, they perceive movement as turn, whether it's a sway or a sway towards the ball. They perceive anything that moves as a turn because that's how they've learned their golf swing without any guidance. So we don't want that. Movement is not turn in any direction is not turn, okay? Turn is making sure that our right hip is working back as our right leg straightens and loses flex, and you can see my hip is turning as a result of that. You can see from the face-on view, my right hip turning back as my right leg straightens and loses flex. As a result, my hips are turning more. So when I set up to the ball from this down the line angle, my hips and pelvis faces the ball at address. If I turn properly, you can see my hips and pelvis starts facing you guys at the camera. But it is also very important to note that when you do this, it's the right hip or the trail hip working back that causes this to happen. A lot of times I see players who do not let their trail leg lose flex. They try to maintain the flex in their trail leg because that's how they've been taught. So as a result, the lead hip comes into the ball. You can also see when I do that, my hips and pelvis also start facing this camera's direction, but that's not a proper turn. When I do this, if I maintain my trail knee flex and I try to turn, my lead hip coming into the ball, into the trail toes, one, I'm in my toes in the backswing, which sets us up for failure in the downswing. But two, when I do this, my trail hip is not working back, okay? So just because the pelvis and hips look like it's facing the camera's direction does not mean you're turning. So you really have to make sure when you watch yourself, okay? You really got to make sure it's the trail hip working back as the trail leg straightens and loses flex. It is not just the lead hip working forward, even though it looks like your turn. So really got to make sure when you make these turns, you can put your club across your hip bone, let your trail hip turn back as you turn into the inside trail heel as that trail leg straightens and loses flex. This is a proper hip turn. This is not a proper hip turn as my lead hip goes forward. So let's do a couple here. I'm going to do a proper one first. Trail hip turns back as the trail leg straightens and loses flex. Very slowly here, proper turn. Okay, that's a proper turn there. Then I'm going to do a very incorrect turn where the lead hip goes forward, even though, again, my pelvis and hips facing you guys at the camera's direction. And you can see, like, I have nowhere to go in the downswing. And for a lot of you guys still make the contact happen because you guys are used to, if you crowd the ball, you're going to try to uncrowd the ball, stand up, do whatever it takes to get contact. But again, that's not what we want to build as a solid foundation for long-term success. So when you guys are working on your golf swings, look at this. This is a very key foundation to look at, making sure your trail hip is working back as the trail leg loses flex and straightens, without locking out, of course, and not the trail hip, not the lead hip working forward and turning towards the ball. So check that when you guys practice. Very important thing to look at, making sure you have proper hip turn in the backswing to set you up for greater success in the downswing. So check that out. Any questions, leave it in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.